Well, you know, you mentioned about the economic impact, the health problems, and so on. And can you understand why a lot of people in Carrington are concerned about a dairy coming into their area?
I would be very concerned.
So you wouldn't think there would be something that you could recommend to them?
No,
Okay.
definitely not.
And we talked on the phone, and I mentioned that we had a website, and when you found out about the website, stinkfreecarrington.com, you went to that website, correct?
Yeah, I checked it out. I thought it was a very good website. It was very nice.
Well, thank you for the compliment. We try to make it informative. But when you read through the website, you seem kind of passionate about it because this has affected your health. It's affected probably your property values here. Wouldn't you say that?
Hugely. It's basically ruined our life, and I'm not joking. It's ruined our life.
Yeah, because without your health, what do you have?
Yeah.
And especially your kids.
And just, you can't come home, you can't use your property. And we have a beautiful farm here, and it's like we can't use our property, and we come home and it stinks, and we're mad. We're planning on cooking out or something. It just totally ruins your plans all the time.
So after you so you've empathized with our concern about what's going to happen in our community.
Yeah, I called called two of your county commissioners. I know the one guy was not available. The first guy on the website, there was another guy, Mr. Carr, I believe his name
Commissioner
was.
Carr.
Commissioner
Carr.
Carr. I spoke with him for a long time, for sure over a half of an hour one morning. I called him and.
Oh, you did. What was your motivation for calling him?
I'd been up the night before from the smell from the dairy, and I thought, you know what, these commissioners need to know about this. And I just started calling, and the first guy wasn't there. I did get a hold of this Mr. Carr, and I spoke with him in depth about this for a long time. And boy, I went round and round and round with him about different things, and he listened, but I don't think he seemed very. I don't think I moved him. I don't think he seemed very. Yeah, I talked to him about the health problems and about the hydrogen sulfide and how bad it's going to smell.
What was his reaction?
He said, I'm 70 years old and I'm not going to be here more than a few more years anyway. And I said, well, do you want to be remembered for the jerk who brought the dairy to town, or do you want to be remembered for the guy who stopped the dairy from coming to town?
Let's go back to that subject of, did he tell you that this was going to be good for the area? Economically, is that what? Did he bring that argument up?
Yeah, I talked to him about that. He goes, "Well, I'm going to be selling straw to them," and he goes, "They've already got a bid from the lumber yard to buy all the materials right here in town." And he started rattling off that they're going to be buying everything local and this and that. And it's like, well, great, that's a one-shot deal, And then he's farming 6,000 acres, and he's going to be selling them straw or this and that, and I just thought to myself, that's a conflict of interest right there.
Well, did he tell you that he also has a contract to get the manure spread upon his land from the dairy as well?
No, but I'm sure he will. If he's selling them straw, it'll be
So obviously he's not somebody that it didn't seem to matter to you. It didn't seem to matter to him how much of the problems that you guys are having up here, what it's going to be like. His basic attitude was, I'm 70 years old and I'm not going to be around more than a couple of years. I'll probably be dead, so what do I care? Is that what he said? I can't believe
Basically, yeah, that's what he said. And, I couldn't believe it, but that's basically what he said. And that's when I said, do you want to be remembered for being the jerk who let the dairy come to town when you're dead, or do you want to be remembered, wow, he stopped the dairy from coming? And he didn't really have much of anything to say.
So would you believe that if our experience with Mr. Carr, sometimes he has a tendency to kind of forget things. So if I asked him about whether or not he had this conversation with you, what if I told you that he'd probably tell me or tell somebody that brought that up that he never had the conversation? Could you actually produce proof of a phone call to him?
Yeah, because I called him on my cell phone and it would show how many minutes I talked to him on there. So yeah, I could produce proof that I talked to him for over a half an hour.
So if he said some guy from Thief River called him to warn him about the problems of a dairy moving to his area, and he said no such conversation ever took place, you could prove to him that there was a conversation.
Oh yes.
And it was at least a 30-minute conversation, would you say?
I would say at least 30 minutes.
Well, that must have been kind of frustrating to bring all this stuff up to a person that's being paid off to bring the dairy to town.
Yeah, he wasn't very receptive, I'll put it that way.
So no matter how much you told him about the health problems, and no matter how much you told him about the facts of what the health department told you to, did you tell him about
he just said that's one bad dairy. That just one bad dairy. I said, no, all the dairies that these guys operate are bad. And I said, a lot of dairies are bad. And I said, the sand bedding is the key. The sand bedding is very bad.
The sand bedding. We're back to the sand bedding again. What if I told you that the same sand bedding plan is being planned for the dairy over there in Carrington? Would you think that's a great way to go?
No, I think that'd be horrible.
Well, and I could also tell you that this was approved by the health department for the state of North Dakota as a new and modern innovation of sand bedding.
No.
Well, so when you say sand bedding and it doesn't crust, I've been to the beach a lot of times in my life where they have sand, and for some reason I've never been to a beach yet that has sand that crusts over on top of the water. Is this going to be different over here?
No. Basically, the sand bedding, what they're supposed to do is try to wash the sand, wash the manure out of it, and then recapture the sand for reuse again. But as they found out here in Thief River Falls, that the sand plugged up their pipes within the first 2 weeks after they built this huge new barn. The pipes plugged solid with sand. Well,
that's so you're saying that the sand that they're using, this dirty dairy dozen farm it plugs it up, and thus the system itself doesn't work.
The system does not work and has not worked since basically the first couple weeks of putting it in. I talked with the one manager, Ryan Griffin, who used to work there, and he just threw his hands up in there and said they threw this place up way too fast. I don't know what to do. The pipes don't work, and he was frustrated. He quit. He walked off the job.
What if I were to tell you that the people that plan on operating a dairy or start up a dairy over there and bring it to a 1,500 cow, they have a permit to bring 1,500 cows in there. What if I told you those people have never managed more than 150 cows in their entire career of operating a dairy? Do you think they'd be able to? Do you think there's a little difference between a 1,500 cow dairy and a 150 cow dairy?
Yeah.
And do you think that do you think the sand that they would use in North Dakota would have the same attributes as the sand in this dairy, or would it be different? Would that sand float to the top and crust over the lagoon?
No, it will not. They definitely are going to need to chop straw and put over the top of the lagoons to make them crust over. Sand bedding will not crust over. Definitely will not. And that's like the MPCA is pushing this barn right now. It's in their permit to maintain a crust on the lagoons, and they're not doing that right now.
What does MPCA stand for?
Minnesota Pollution Control Agency. Yes.
Okay. So they're the people that watch out for groundwater pollution and air pollution, right?
Yeah.
They're the watchdog group.
Yeah.
That's government group.
Government group. Yeah, government.
So if you had a message that you could give to the people of Foster County, and if you could tell them and warn them about what would it be? What would you tell them? In other words, do you think this is gonna? Is this dairy really going to be anything different? Our dairy going to be anything different than you think than what's over here?
I would say no.
Do you think it's worth the risk to find out?
I would say no.
you think that being 2.5 miles from town, that there's a pretty good possibility when the wind blows from that direction, or where there is no wind, that our city is going to be smelling this dairy?
Oh yes.
So you think that the cows in Carrington, North Dakota, or in Foster County are going to create the same kind of manure and the same kind of smell?
Definitely.
So
they're
you're
going
not-
to feed them hard. They're going to feed them cows hard. They're going to milk them 3 times a day, and them cows create a lot of waste, and it's very nasty.